Okay, so today we have a 2009 Jeep Wrangler, and we're going to put rear pads on it, but there's something else that we're going to check, and this is something that a lot of people fail to do. So your emergency brake is actually housed in this drum right here. This is actually kind of a drum rotor combination, and there's a lot of vehicles like this now. A lot of modern vehicles that have rear disc brakes actually have the emergency brake inside this hub or this drum. Now, the first thing you do when you take your tire off is, if you have these little retainers, just pull them off. What I use is I just use a pair of 45-degree dikes. I grab a hold of it and just yank them, and you can get those off. And you don't have to worry about putting them back on. All those are for is on the assembly line. When they're putting these together, they put the hubs on the axle. They put those clips on there. That way the hubs don't fall off while it's being shipped around and transported down the assembly line and whatever. You know, you don't want hubs and rotors and stuff falling off your axles whenever you're trying to put a car together. But once the caliper and everything's bolted on, obviously this hub or this rotor, it's not going anywhere, even without those retainers. So first thing we got to do is get this caliper off. Now, since I'm going to pull these rotors off, and depending on how the pads look, I'm going to actually keep the caliper on the caliper bracket. So what we're going to take off is the whole caliper bracket and caliper assembly. So there's this bolt, and there's one right below it down there that I'm going to get back. I'm just going to use my little Nano impact. Love this thing. This thing, in fact, I need to do a review on this. I've had it about 5 years now. I need to do a 5-year review on it just to tell people how great it is. But anyway, let me get the camera clamped in here somewhere, and we will get after this job. Okay. I'm just going to get back there, and one of them I'm going to be able to get with this impact. The other one, you can't get on it but with a wrench. They're not too big. They're 18 millimeter. And I'm just going to use a ratchet wrench for this bottom one. I'm going to lay that up there. Now, as long as the pads are worn evenly, that means that the piston and everything's sliding on the caliper bracket. Okay, so now that we got these clips off and the caliper bracket off, we're just going to pull the rotor off. And here, these are your emergency shoes, brake shoes. And you want to take a look at them. You want to make sure that they're evenly worn, that there's still plenty of meat. Now, these usually don't have a whole lot of meat to start with. These are still perfectly good. You know, back in the old days when everything had drum brakes, you'd have a lot more meat on these. But they don't put a lot of meat on these emergency brakes because they know that people, you know, they don't use them all the time. You don't use them for day-to-day stopping. When you do use them, generally it's after you've already stopped and you're obviously pulling the emergency brake, and it's just going to hold the car, or in this case the Jeep, you know, steady, keep it from rolling. So you don't really wear these a whole lot, but these will wear, and you want to take a look at them whenever you're replacing your pads, because you're already here. You want to pull these off and take a look, make sure it's all together. I've had these where things have come apart in here, and you know, it's making grinding noise and screeching noise, and you pull it off and you've got parts and pieces and stuff laying down in the, you know, down here in the drum, rattling around. So, but anyway, let's get on with the actual pad replacement. First thing I'm going to do is pop these pads out of here. normally before I even take these off, I pry the caliper back, and I forgot to do that this time. It just makes it a lot easier. Because you know, you're able to just use leverage to get the calipers back. And I'm going to leave this one on here while I compress this piston. I'm just going to use a big pair of channel locks. Always pay attention to where your wear indicator is at, because you want to put the wear indicator in the same location that the old pad comes off. Just need a little bit more compression. And there we go. You can use a C-clamp. I'm going to knock this. So if you get a good pair of pads, it'll have these new clips with it. If you got new clips, always put them on. If you don't have new clips, just make sure that your old ones are cleaned up, and you know, take like a small wire brush or something and clean them up, and you'll be just fine. Alright guys, so now we got everything ready. We got it set up. We've got to put these new clips in. There are two different type clips. See the big tang right there, and then the way this little ear folds out that way. Got big tang here. You're going to need two of each for one caliper, and you need to make sure that they go in the right way. And it's pretty simple to tell whenever you get one in. You've got a I'll show you one. Let me get one snapped in, and I'll explain to you how you are able to tell the difference. Okay, if you look on this bottom flange, it's shorter than this top flange up here. Each one has got a long one and a shorter one. This clip goes on the, in this case, the side facing away from the pad. So the longer tang right here is going to go on the longer flange. Hopefully you can see that. Got the short tang down there, you got the longer one up here. And then same for this side here. So I'm looking right here. Got the long one. Hold on. Long, short. So it's not going to be this one. I'm going to need this one. Okay, Pads are in, pistons fully compressed. Make sure you look at your boot. The piston boot, make sure it's not torn. If it's torn or ripped, it needs to be replaced. Okay, one brake job done. Alright, and that's it. 2009 Jeep Wrangler rear pad replacement, and checking the emergency brake shoes. And you can actually take this little tab right here, you can bend it in. Anyway, you guys take care. See you in the next one.